Hello, here trying to make another video. It's probably the last one for the night. And I'm going to talk about my second favorite superhero. Even though Batman takes the top spot, this particular character had the number one spot back when I was a teenager. And, a couple years ago when I started reading Outsiders and started reading his title a lot more, even though I need to collect the trades. But I'm talking about Dick Grayson. By any other name, Dick Grayson is the world's first teenage superhero. Well, first teenage comic book superhero. He appeared in Detective Comics number 38 in 1940. And that particular comic, I remember when Batman Forever was, I think it was released on VHS, and I think I rented it. And when you rented it, you got a free copy, a free reprinted Blockbuster exclusive copy of this comic, and I still have it somewhere. I need to go through my junk and find it, but I know I kept it. And Robin's been one of my favorite characters. He was one of my favorite characters. He'll forever be in my top 10 for several reasons. One, in comic books, Batman's sort of a disconnect to the younger audience. Like if you're a kid, if you're a teenager, Robin bridges that gap, because for any adolescent who had a wild imagination, like myself, who fantasized about growing up to be a superhero when I was little, Robin was the perfect model for that, because here's a kid who is being trained to become a great hero by one of the greatest heroes of all time, which is Batman. What better way to do it? And plus, he's filthy rich and has a gazillion dollars at his disposal. And it sounds pretty cool, even though he comes from tragic circumstances. But what's interesting about Robin is that, unlike Bruce Wayne, who pretty much he didn't have the physical skills at his age that Dick Grayson has, because Dick Grayson was a circus acrobat on a flying trapeze. So pretty much fear of heights and acrobatics and physicality was never a problem for Robin, which I envied. He's the only person on Earth who can do the quadruple somersault in DC Comics. And basically, throughout his history in comics, you see him progress. He grew up as Batman's sidekick and in the Teen Titans. But like most teenage males who grow up under their father, as they get older, they slowly disagree. They don't view the world the same way that their father does, which Robin does not view crime fighting the same way that Batman does. Dick Grayson he's a detective, he's a fighter, but I don't think he's not as disconnected from other people, and he's not as vengeful as Batman is. He's not as dark as Batman is. I don't think he could ever be as psychotic as Batman can get. In some ways, Batman is a little psychotic. It takes sheer pleasure in beating the crap out of people. But as he grew older, he wanted his own identity. He began to trust his friends more than his, quote-unquote family, which is Batman and Alfred, which happened in the Teen Titans, and then he became Nightwing. And basically, he grew up from being in his father's shadow and to becoming his own man. And recently, what happened was, through a lot of trials and tribulations that he had to go through in his own title, even though it was a very popular title, eventually he grew up and became his dad, but is determined to do it better than his father ever did, in which now he is the new Batman. Which a lot of comic fans, when RIP's like, who's going to be the new Batman, I wasn't surprised. I don't think anybody was surprised. But I'm definitely not against it. If anybody should be Batman, it's Dick Grayson. Because I think, take editorial mandate and everything out and look at it philosophically as an arc in the fictional life of this character. Because I don't know if anybody knows this, but I heard a rumor that DC was going to kill off Dick Grayson in Infinite Crisis, from which I've heard from somewhere. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but since he basically becomes his father, but he's going to do it his own way. In his father, pretty much his path has led up to this by forces outside of their control. I think it's basically his destiny to succeed his father, his adoptive father, Bruce Wayne. And I'm glad it's Dick Grayson, because I've always liked this character. In the fictional world, he's one of the most trusted people outside the Justice League. He knows everybody. He has such a good. He's better than Batman in the sense that he can rally anybody to his aid because he's on good terms with everybody, for the most part. And outside of Batman, his other influence is Superman, which is where he got his name, Nightwing. Nightwing was a hero on Krypton that wanted justice for the Kryptonian people, in which Superman told him this story after he gotten fired from Batman. So basically, when he was Nightwing, he was basically taking up a composite of both influences. The influence of Bruce Wayne, who trained him and taught him everything he knows, and the influence of Superman, who basically is more of a friend and encouraged him to go out there and take on the world and do the right thing. Sort of like a Batman's the dad you don't get along with, and Superman was the cool uncle who enabled you. But basically, that's how I see Dick Grayson, Nightwing, and he's one of my favorite characters. I've always liked him as a character. To my knowledge, I don't think he's ever been poorly written. Whenever he's in a story, something's gonna go down, and you always know he's gonna come out on top because of who he is. And basically, he's the type of character, he's the kid that most kids imagine they could be. It's like this really, he has all the cool gadgets, he knows karate, and he's a superhero, and he gets to save the day. And then he grows up, and now he gets to become Batman, which I think is really cool. And that's just my 2 cents about Dick Grayson, Robin, Nightwing, and now Batman. Nobody else has really made a video like this, so I decided to do it, and I'm glad I did. So that's it. Dick Grayson is awesome. Post your comments, and peace out.